नमस्कार दोस्तों, आज का दिन विमेन टीवी इंडिया के लिए एक विशेष सम्मान लेकर आया है क्योंकि हमारे बीच हैं आज प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अरुण कुमार ग्रोवर। डॉक्टर अरुण कुमार ग्रोवर, a condensed matter physicist, served as the 12th Vice Chancellor of Panjab University, Chandigarh. उनके कार्यकाल में यूनिवर्सिटी ने इंटरडिसिप्लिनैरिटी, इनोवेशन और एक्सीलेंस के नए आयाम छुए। An internationally acclaimed award-winning science leader, Professor Grover is widely recognized for his path-breaking contributions to condensed matter physics and his visionary role in shaping science policies and academic leadership in India. Dr. Grover Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, मुंबई के वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिक रहे हैं। इन्हें होमी भाभा साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी अवार्ड, राजा रमन्ना फेलोशिप while working as honorary professor at PIC और TIFR Alumni Association Excellence Award जैसे प्रतिष्ठित सम्मानों से नवाजा गया है। डॉक्टर ग्रोवर इंडियन अकेडमी ऑफ साइंसेज और नेशनल अकेडमी ऑफ साइंसेज इंडिया के फेलो हैं और इंडियन अकेडमी ऑफ साइंसेज के वाइस प्रेसिडेंट भी रह चुके हैं। आजकल प्रोफेसर ग्रोवर फिजिक्स एजुकेशन, इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी रिसर्च और हिस्ट्री ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन पर सक्रिय रूप से काम कर रहे हैं। He plays key roles internationally as a member of International Union of Pure and Applied Physics Commission on Physics Education and Industry. Also, Dr. Grover is serving as Vice President of Society for Promotion of Science and Technology in India, that is SPSTI, an NGO working for the popularization of science and technology through its outreach educational programs. तो आइए हम सब मिलकर स्वागत करें एक ऐसे दूरदर्शी विचारक, प्रखर वैज्ञानिक और प्रेरणादायक मार्गदर्शक का, प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अरुण कुमार ग्रोवर। सर, आपका स्वागत है विमेन टीवी इंडिया के इस मंच पे।
थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी हियर।
थैंक यू सर, आप समय निकाल के आए सर। तो आपसे सबसे पहले हम ये जानना चाहेंगे कि फिजिक्स के साथ आपकी जर्नी शुरू कैसे हुई? कब आपने डिसाइड किया कि आपकी जीवन यात्रा में फिजिक्स हमेशा आपके साथ रहेगी?
See, I was born to refugee parents in a refugee camp named as Kingsway Camp, which lies in close proximity to Delhi University colleges and its university departments. और कक्षा 3 से लेके 8 तक मैं एक ऐसे स्कूल में पढ़ा जो यूनिवर्सिटी प्रोफेसर्स की रेजिडेंस की बैक साइड मॉरिस नगर के पे था। उस स्कूल के 2 सेक्शन थे, एक प्राइमरी सेक्शन और एक सेकेंडरी सेक्शन। प्राइमरी सेक्शन was a kind of a Virmani model school. That was, admission to that was more restricted क्योंकि उनकी फीस वगैरह थोड़ी ज़्यादा होती थी। But all the students from class 5 transited to the Dhanpatmal Anglo-Sanskrit Higher Secondary School, which was a small, very exclusive school, which was founded by a family which immigrated from Lailpur, where this school was originally located in erstwhile Panjab, and it was considered a very good school of Punjab from Lailpur in those days. तो इस स्कूल गवर्नमेंट एडेड स्कूल था और आधे से ज़्यादा बच्चे इस स्कूल में यूनिवर्सिटी डिपार्टमेंट्स या कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी कॉलेजेस के पेरेंट में जो अध्यापक थे उनके बच्चे थे। एंड एक क्लास में 30 से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स नहीं होते थे। इट वाज अ वेरी एक्सक्लूसिव स्कूल। लकीली आई गॉट एडमिशन इनटू दैट स्कूल। और फ्रॉम क्लास 3 ऑनवर्ड्स मेरे क्लासमेट्स में विजय औलख था, whose father, Professor Fakir Chand Aulak, a mathematician turned physicist, was a professor of physics in Delhi University who had studied at Lahore under Sarvdaman Chawla, the same teacher under whom Professor Bhabha also studied later. मेरा दूसरा क्लासमेट था ललित मोहन जौहरी, whose father was B.M. Jory, the professor of botany. एक और मेरा क्लासमेट था प्रजेशु गुप्ता, whose father Professor H.C. Gupta was a professor of mathematics. ऐसे स्कूल में बहुत सारे प्रोफेसर्स के बच्चे थे.
जी.
So I was very fascinated कि I should be a university teacher. So, but I left that school in class 9. My father got transferred to Meerut and I took admission in a new Kendriya Vidyalaya which had been set up in the Punjab Regimental Center for the children of the defense personnel of India. My father was a civilian employee in the defense.
In
This
defense.
I got admission into that school because I came from Delhi Higher Secondary, so I got admission there. Incidentally, the first chairman of Central Board of Secondary Education was R.P. Singhal. His son was also my classmate in class 8, who had come from Ajmer. So I had this connection with this new schools which were coming up after the NCRT came in India in 1963.
63.
And NCRT ने ही एक स्कीम शुरू की थी जिसका पहली दफा 1964 में उसका एग्जाम हुआ, नेशनल साइंस टैलेंट सर्च स्कॉलरशिप. I wasn't aware of this, but when I was in class 10th, all the Kendriya Vidyalayas in India got these forms to fill up. I also filled up that form and I wrote that exam. While writing that exam, someone who had written the exam in the previous year and whose friend was known to me, he told me that ये बहुत अच्छा scholarship है. You get scholarship for studying after school. It gives you 100 rupees scholarship per month during the graduation. Then in
That's what
post graduation, it is 250 rupees. And in PhD, it is 400 rupees, which at that time was more than the salary of a college lecturer.
Mm.
So I had this fascination that I should be a university teacher. My father wouldn't have afforded to send me to study in an IIT. So जब भी मुझे scholarship मिल गया, तो I found कि I can pursue
I
a
think.
path to become a university teacher.
Mhm.
So this is how I thought I will do honors in physics because I had learned in Delhi, studying in Delhi school. All the good students of that school either went to the Delhi College of Engineering or they
Okay.
enrolled in the university departments. And since Dhanpatmal school had only non-medical stream, so या तो students went to the Delhi College of Engineering, very few joined IIT, the rest joined the physics department. So I wanted to join physics department, but I was underage, so I couldn't get admission in Delhi University. So next best was that I came and started to do BSc Part 1 from DAV College Jalandhar.
Okay.
I had come to Punjab University to take admission in the honor school, but they said नहीं आपको एक साल college में पढ़ के आना पड़ेगा. And colleges in Chandigarh, DAV College Sector
10.
10 was doing very well, but Principal Lokinath said हम BSc पढ़ने वालों को hostel में जगह नहीं देते. हमारा we only give hostel admission to pre-engineering students, and I could not do pre-engineering because the scholarship said you have to do BSc Part 1.
Okay.
So I met uh, Professor R.P. Arora, who was a physics teacher and vice principal of DAV College Jalandhar. He took me to DAV College Jalandhar. I met Principal B.S. Bell there, and he said, if you gain admission in our college, we will take care of your scholarship, even though at that time DAV Jalandhar was not a recognized college by the NCRT. He says, you leave it to me. That is not your problem. You come take admission. You have a room to yourself. And you just study and everything I'll take care. And indeed, college gave me scholarship from the day one, though the NCRT money came 6 months later. But I got my scholarship every month. I had a room to study. I had books given to me by Principal Bell. I had a place in the scholars' corner of the library to study. So that is how I was pampered by DAV College Jalandhar. I studied there for 1 year. At the end of 1 year, I came and enrolled in the physics
Punjab.
department at Punjab University. And that was the year 1968 that engineering students are not getting jobs. So all the toppers of pre-engineering also came and joined physics. Only
Physics.
5 national science talent scholars and 40 toppers from the colleges from all across Punjab and Haryana. Haryana had not was still a part of Punjab University at that time. Everybody came and joined physics department. So that is how I became a part of the physics department of a very exclusive batch of students who are all toppers from all across North India. So at the
Great.
end, so at the end of 4 years,
Mm.
I Professor Hans was the new head of the department. Professor Patria had joined as a professor of theoretical physics 6 months before us. Professor Banot was continuing from Hoshiarpur days. So we had the best of the physics education at Punjab University, the best you could get in any university campus of India.
Yes, it was a privilege to get admission in the physics department at that time, even now, Punjab University. Yes,
So
sir,
after
आपके
so after doing masters, I wrote the TIFR. I mean, I appeared for the TIFR graduate school interviews. And from our batch, 5 students got joined the BARC training school, and I joined the TIFR graduate school. So 6 of us went to Bombay together from Chandigarh.
time
So
पे
that is how
government
I became a part of the TIFR PhD program. I wanted to do high energy physics on accelerator, nuclear physics using accelerators, but TIFR admitted only 10 students and they allotted students to different groups. I was allotted to the solid state physics group and asked to work on superconductivity with Anant Narlikar, the younger brother of famous Professor Jayant Narlikar. So, so I started to read about superconductivity while attending graduate courses. And but Anant left after a year, so I had to shift. I wanted to do solid state theory later on. Professor Jha already had too many students. He did not accept me to do solid state theory, so I did next best. I joined solid state experimental, working on magnetic alloys with Professor R. Vijayaraghavan using the technique of nuclear magnetic resonance.
सर ये जो
So
आप रिसर्च की बात कर रहे हैं तो बेस्ट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं सोसाइटी के वो पहुंचते हैं बड़े बड़े इंस्टीट्यूट्स में बड़ी बड़ी लैब्स में तो वहां जो रिसर्च होती है वो लगभग कितना टाइम लगता है कि आम आदमी को देश को समाज को उसका लाभ होता है
say TIFR Graduate School is one of the first graduate schools in India for PhD program. और वहाँ पहले 1.5 साल आपको कोर्स वर्क करना पड़ता है. So
ओके
I did that coursework. So my research journey commenced only after 1.5 years.
अच्छा
And it used to take on the average 5 to 6 years to complete PhD in TIFR those days. NSTS scholarship was only for 4 years, but TIFR gave scholarships even better than the NSTS scholarship. NSTS scholarship 400 rupees mahina tha, but TIFR gave the students 450 rupees per month.
अच्छा
So, and TIFR hostel had just been built. So I transited from a very good environment of Punjab University campus to a better environment of TIFR campus, living in a new ultra modern hostel next to the institute. And things were very smooth. I started to work, and TIFR had a change of policy. And before I completed my PhD in 1979, in 77 itself, I was offered a research associate position in TIFR, which meant that if I do well for the next 5 years, I will have a chance of becoming a regular staff member of TIFR till the age of superannuation.
ओके
So, but the research associateship gave me the opportunity that now there is no pressure to write the thesis immediately. So, in order, and you are judged by your performance in research. So I became more ambitious. So I submitted the thesis only in 79, and my thesis comprised material which was equivalent to two or two and three theses. I worked on 3, 4 different topics. Everything I compiled together. A professor from Imperial College had been invited to hold a winter school on spin glasses, which was a hot topic in magnetism at that time. He came, gave us a series of lectures, and he offered a postdoctoral fellowship to one of the TIFR students on completion of their PhD. Since he was invited by Professor Vijayaraghavan and I was working directly with him, he recommended my name to him for a postdoctoral fellowship. I had one more offer to go as a Humboldt fellow to Germany, but Brian Coles was a person who had coined the nomenclature spin glasses, and he was a very well-known person. The person in Germany also who offered me a postdoctoral position was also a very well-known person in the field of valence fluctuations. Actually, Brian Coles and Wolleben had written a review article in solid state physics volume together. So I had, fing- my fingers in two good pies, either to work with Wolleben or Brian Coles. I chose Brian Coles and I went to Imperial. And I went there, and within a few months, a new magnetic superconductor was discovered. And Brian let me work on in this new material. So next 2 years, there was a postdoc who had discovered this. So with that postdoc and I, two postdocs of Brian Coles, we pushed this work on new magnetic superconductor, and that attracted a huge amount of international attention. So by the time I've completed my postdoc and I returned to TIFR, the TIFR offered me a regular appointment as a fellow. First appointment was a 5-year appointment, and they will review what you have done. So on the basis of my PhD and the postdoctoral work, now I had a regular position in TIFR from 1982 onwards. Now I am on my own. I have to do what I want to do. So I started to work on. Uh, I couldn't work on magnetic superconductors because that required liquid helium, and that wasn't available at that instance of time in TIFR in adequate supply. Very few liters were produced every this thing, and that went to another professor who was setting up a new superconductivity group. So I had to do something different. So I started to work on spin glasses. I started to collaborate with the nuclear spectroscopy group, and I, as a regular faculty member and a student from the nuclear spectroscopy group, we started to do things together, combining the techniques of NMR and the MOSPOR and perturbed angular correlation, which are the nuclear spectroscopic techniques, to carry out hyperfine studies in magnetic alloys. So this is how I became familiar with the new field, emerging field of valence fluctuations, and that is how I got in contact with Dieter Wohleben before I met Brian Coles. Okay, so I had visited Brian Coles in 1977 when, as a PhD student, I had gone to ICTP for a period of 3 months, and I had traveled around Europe while I was a student. So I was very lucky that I had this exposure while being a student to good centers of research in Europe.
Best centers.
Best centers. I went to Orsay, and I had very, very well-known people of that time in the domain of magnetism. And all these contacts helped me as the life progressed, because once I started to these hyperfine studies after my return to TIFR, then suddenly the high temperature superconductivity happened in September of 1986, and TIFR was hosting a conference on valence fluctuations in January of 1987, to which Wolleben was also invited as a valence fluctuation man. But to the same conference were invited P.W. Anderson, who went on to be the winner of the Nobel Prize and so on. So now the high TC thing started. I left whatever I was doing and I entered this field of high temperature superconductor. I built up, along with young people in TIFR, a new group to probe high temperature superconductors. And I was carrying out the magnetization studies in high temperature superconductors. So those magnetization studies, in the backdrop of whatever I used to do in spin glasses, they became my USP for next 30 years, actually.
Okay.
So once I started high temperature superconductivity in 1987. This is what I continued till 2012 when I left TIFR and became a VC in Punjab University.
नाइस
So
सर।
things,
आपकी जो जर्नी है, द वे यू आर एक्सप्रेसिंग योर ग्रेटिट्यूड एंड योर अफेक्शन फॉर योर इंस्टीट्यूशंस एंड योर फ्रेंड्स एंड योर कोलीग्स, इट्स रियली वेरी वाइब्रेटिंग। सर, आपको यू रिसीव्ड होमी भाभा साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी अवार्ड इन 1995।
yeah. So what
What is
happened is that in between, once I was doing high temperature superconductor, there was some issues, and I had to take a job in Chandigarh. And the Punjab University was very kind. Professor Bhabha made me a professor when I was just 38 years of age in the physics department of Punjab University. I came here and stayed for 3 years, and I tried to set up some group on magnetism, but I continued to work with my students at TIFR. At the end of 3 years, I had returned, but I had continued working on high temperature superconductors and the magnetic alloys for these 3 years. So when I went back to TIFR, by that time, I had started to work with a group in University of Warwick, which was growing single crystals of high TC superconductors. So there was a student in TIFR who had written a paper with me when just before I joined Punjab University. He was at Warwick, so he came and joined IIT Bombay, and he gave me the crystals that he was growing at Warwick. So I started to now work on high TC super single crystals, and I was perhaps amongst the first in India who had access to high TC superconductor single crystals. So then I started to do vortex state studies, trying to study the current carrying capacity via exploring the single crystals via magnetization response. So current carrying capacity of superconductors dictates its magnetic behavior. So I started to explore how the magnetic field permeates, how the current density can be enhanced in these superconductors. And via that, I entered this field of vortex phase diagram studies. That means how the superconducting vortices arrange themselves in a superconductors, how they get pinned and acquired this attribute of high current carrying capacity. So in 1994, these new superconductors were being difficult for use for practical applications. In order to improve their applications for large-scale applications, one had to understand vortex state of the superconductors. So in Europe, they started this notion of annual vortex workshops. Okay, so a German professor, he started his tradition of annual workshops for invited participants. People were invited every year, and you have to tell what you have done in the last 1 year. So in one of these high TC superconductors, we found a spectacular result, which was published in the Physical Review Letters in 1996. And in that result, Professor Shobha Bhattacharya of NEC Research Institute, he also had a role in trying to explain what was the spectacular experimental result that we have found in TIFR. So that helped me to stitch this partnership with NEC Research Institute in Princeton, which was led by Professor Shobha Bhattacharya. Now, Shobha also became a part of our collaborative research. So it became TIFR, University of Warwick, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Dr. V.C. Sani, and Ramakrishnan and myself. So 5 of us, we stitched this partnership together, and we became a known group working in vortex state studies from India. So we started, 98 is the first time I got invited to this vortex workshops. Very soon they made me a member of the organizing committee of the vortex workshops. And 10 years down the line, in 2005, we held the 10th International Vortex Workshop at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. One needed money and to hold such events. So GRD 2004 was the birth centenary year of Mr. GRD Tata. Bhabha could get TIFR going in 1945 with the support of young Mr. GRD Tata at that time. Mr. Tata's birthday was celebrated in TIFR by the TIFR Alumni Association since the year 2002, which I only had got it initiated at one time. So I approached Tata Consultancy Services. They gave me an adequate amount of money. And with that, I hosted this 10th International Vortex Workshop in Mumbai, and to which scientists came from all across the world. So the group was doing well. We had made a name for vortex state studies. Now we had connectivity all across uh,
Hello.
the globe, and the work was going smoothly. Shobo eventually joined TIFR as a director of TIFR in 2007, and the work continued. And then came the Homi Bhabha birth centenary year. I had a fascination for Bhabha ever since he joined TIFR in 1972. I had done many things commemorating
Yes, sir. There is some
the
problem.
Bhabha centenary year, and for 3 years I was TIFR and Atomic Energy's designated person to commemorate the Bhabha centenary commemorations. So, as a part of those commemoration, lots of things happened. We organized 26 scientific conferences. We organized this Bhabha Centenary Symposium. We organized Homi Bhabha Fellowship Conclave. Homi Bhabha Fellowship is a notion which was instituted after Bhabha's death by Homi Bhabha Fellowships Council created by the Tata Trust. So Homi Bhabha Fellowship was given to young leaders of India in all domains from 1970s onwards. For the first time, we collected all the Homi Bhabha's fellows in TIFR for a period of 3 days, and we organized this festival. And who's of India has been Homi Bhabha fellows in all domains. Arun Shori was a Homi Bhabha fellow. Romila Thapar was a Homi Bhabha fellow. So you name anybody and everybody in the domain of literature, music, films, artists, everybody has been a Homi Bhabha fellow. So we got them together for 3 days, and that gave me connectivity with the leaders in various domains in India. So I don't know whether destiny was preparing me for the role of a VC via this intermediate task of steering the Homi Bhabha birth centenary. So Bhabha Centenary Symposium was organized in partnership with all the science academies of India, and all the fellows of all the science academies were invited to Bombay for the Bhabha Centenary Symposium. Of course, Dr. Banerjee and Dr. Karkoder were very kind. They gave us 1 crore 35 lakhs rupees to organize these activities.
Okay.
So, there was support from TIFR, from Atomic Energy, from the ex-directors of TIFR, ex-chairpersons of the Atomic Energy Commission, and I got connectivity with all the fellows of the Science Academy, and the books on Bhabha which we got printed, I had it mailed to every physics department in the country via partnership with Indian Academy of Sciences. So lots of very out of box things which I could do as a part of the convener of the Homi Bhabha Birth Centenary Committee. Okay, prepared me for the Vice Chancellorship of TIFR. And I had a friend from younger days who had left TIFR and went to Jawaharlal Nehru University, Professor Ram Ramaswamy. He had become the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Hyderabad. I had invited him to give a Science Day talk in the Homi Bhabha Auditorium. This was an initiative of TIFR Alumni Association, which I had got it going as early as the year 2000. So Ram was the speaker, and as he went back, he sent me a mail that Punjab University is looking for a new VC, whether he would
To apply
me to nominate me. So
nomination.
I asked for a 1 week's time to ask my spouse, and she, of course, was very keen to return to Chandigarh because she is born and brought up in Chandigarh.
Okay,
Her
that was one
father,
of the attractions.
her father is the one who had started the postgraduate education in music at Government College Sector 11. So she has a deeper connect with Chandigarh, and her father, of course, had started his career from Lahore, and she belongs to a family from Jalandhar. So she had a deeper contact with Punjab and the Punjab University per se. So she said, okay, and I sent him the CV, and that is how it started to roll about. And luckily for me, Mr. Narayan Murthy, whom I had met uh, in the year 2002 in Bangalore, via a, another founder of Infosys, Mr. Shibulal, who
Yes.
was a physics MSc and who was supporting TIFR's outreach programs and other academic activities. So I invited Narayan Murthy to give a TIFR Foundation Day lecture in the year 2012. He came, and after the lecture, we started to talk, and he told me of a report that he had. I had read that he had submitted a report to Government of India on corporate participation in higher education. I asked him a copy of the report. He gave me that, and I read that. And after 3 weeks, I was asked to meet the search committee for Punjab University. And then when they asked me, what will you do? I said, I will try to implement the ideas articulated in this Narayan Murthy report, which has been written under the chairmanship of Narayan Murthy, but it has members from Planning Commission, Government of India, Indian Institute of Science, Tata Consultancy Services, Wipro, Delhi University, many IITs, and so on and so forth. So it was a new direction that the India should go via partnership between state universities of India and the corporate sector of India. So I was aware of the background of Punjab University as a central institution. So to that committee, I articulated that. Luckily, in that committee, there was a former DST secretary who was also the former president of the Indian Academy of Sciences. And incidentally, he was the president when I was elected a fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences. So when I articulated all these things, in between, I had become aware of Ruchiram Sani and how Ruchiram Sani had mentored Birbal Sani and Bhatnagar, and how Bhatnagar had helped Bhabha in conceiving TIFR. All those was sort of known to me. So I built up a story as to how Punjab University can be taken to a higher level of performance by recalling the contributions of Ruchiram Sani Bhatnagar and mixing with it this ideas articulated in corporate participation in higher education, which called for creating a cluster of institutions coming on a common platform, identifying few verticals with which the local corporate sector can identify, and then they can work in partnership. So I picked, so all this was there, and within first my coming, 1 week of my coming, the then Minister of State for Science and Technology invited all the Chandigarh heads of institutions to come and talk to him on a Saturday morning. And he called all of them that you must work together to improve your deliverance to the society.
Yes.
Okay, so this is 2012, and it is 65 years since the India had become independent. And he says the government has been supporting these institutions ever since India became independent. And time has come that they should give better deliverance to the society if the government has to continue to sustain them. So he sort of threw up a challenge that if you will not do this, the government support to these institutions will weaken as the time will go by. So minister came and went back, but I picked up, I told him in that meeting about Narayan Murthy report and creation of this cluster. He was happy with it. So after he went away, next month I convened a meeting of all those heads of the institution who had come for a meeting in the Punjab University guest house to take this agenda forward. So Dr. Girish Sani was the director of IMTech at that time. Satyamurthy was the director ISA. And lo behold, Dr. Yogesh Chawla was director of PGI, the nearest to PU. He was very enthusiastic at this. I did not understand at that time why we are so enthusiastic. It is I learned later only that his predecessor, Professor Talwar, had tried mooted this idea 3 years earlier, and a couple of articles had also been written in Hindustan Times about it in 2010. But I wasn't aware of it. But Professor Chawla became a big supporter of this idea. The next meeting he said would happen in PGI, so the next meeting immediately happened. Then thereafter there was no stopping. We met every month for next 6 months at IIT Ropar. We met in CSIO. We met in ISA. We met in IMTech. And by October of 2012, we had created this Chandigarh Region Innovation and Knowledge Cluster. We had a logo. We approached the local MP, Mr. Pawan Bansal. We requested him for a grant. He was very, very generous. He gave us 1 crore rupee from the MP-led funds for buying 2 air-conditioned buses, which will collect all the institutions. And the idea of CRIXI started to roll. On the Technology Day 2013, we signed a memorandum. 15 institutions in Chandigarh signed a memorandum of understanding, and they offered to work together, okay, on well-identified areas. At least encourage the scientists to write proposals so that they can get better support from the central agencies. So the idea started to roll in 2013. Indian Academy of Sciences uh, asked us to hold their annual meeting. And for the first time, 3 institutions in a given region, namely Panjab University, CSR, IMTech, and ISR Mohali, hosted the annual meeting of the Indian Academy of Sciences in November of 2013. So the Science Academy fellows who had come for the Bhabha Centenary Symposium now met me as a Vice Chancellor of Punjab University in the Punjab University campus. Okay. I was a host to all of them for the annual meeting of the Indian Academy of Sciences. So the Punjab University sort of had hosted the annual meeting 10 years earlier also. So everything got reinforced. I was a new vice chancellor, and the university started to receive uh, sort of good recommendations from the science leaders of India. So next year in the Times Higher Education, Punjab University was adjudged amongst the top institutions of India, just next only to Indian Institute of Science. Then there was no stopping back. MHRD invited Punjab University to make a presentation on CRIXI. Planning Commission also invited us to make a presentation on CRIXI. I sought a meeting with Dr. Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister. He gave me an audience, and I was now accepted as a Vice Chancellor, and I was receiving cooperation from the faculty and students. So lots of newer things that Bhabha had introduced at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research last 60 years. I tried to borrow those ideas and tried to implement them in the Punjab University. So we initiated this monthly Punjab University colloquium lecture where national icons were invited. Punjab University had this Vigyan and Ratan and Udyog Ratan awards, which were given in alternate years. We enhanced this number of awards. to 6, we had added, Gyan Ratan, Sahitya Ratan, Khel Ratan, so we made these 6 awards. Punjab University had this notion of named lectures. Many people, once the academic activities started to enhance, lots of PU alumni came and they instituted more lectures. So we got a lecture going in the name of Shivram Kashyap. We also had Shenmar Memorial Lecture. We had J.C. Anand Memorial Lecture. So, the alumni rallied around to create academic events in the university. And I also added few of we got a stamp released on 150 years of birth year of Ruchiram Sani in the backdrop of commemorating 150 years of higher education in Punjab. So that gave me an opportunity to go to various affiliated colleges of Punjab, various other universities of Punjab, and give talks on how Ruchiram Sani had popularized science education. And that also opened the window to me to learning about the scientific heritage of Punjab. And Professor Rajesh Kochar, who was a great repository of history of science education in India, actually history of education in India. So Rajesh was 3 years senior to 5 years senior to me in the physics department. He's a physicist who has started to do mathematics. Okay, but he remained a physicist and a science historian and a well-known science historian all his life. He had written chapters and books, partnering with Jayant Narlikar. This was his reputation. He also went on to win the INSA Indira Gandhi Science Popularization Prize. So he was a great resource to me. I got material to read, and I had interest in reading all these things, and I started to disseminate. So that is how we lost Rajesh during the pandemic years, but my interest in history of science education has continued. So Rajesh's vacuum has been filled by my introduction to Dr. Rajinder Singh, a science historian, Indian science historian based in Germany, whom I came to know as he wrote the biography of Bhabha Chaudhary, who was the first woman scientist employed by
Right.
Bhabha as early as 1949. So my this connection with learning of the scientific heritage of India has continued. Rajesh had his forte of knowing things a lot about Indian science as it happened in Bangalore and Punjab, and added to it was Rajinder Singh's archives on how science happened, starting from C.V. Raman and Ashutosh Mukherjee at Calcutta. So I have now an access to how science has happened since the creation of first 3 universities in India in 1857 up to the NEP. So NEP was authored by uh, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, who was a member of the TIFR Council of Management from 2004 onwards. So I have known Dr. Kasturi Rangan also. He was also the president of the Indian Academy of Sciences. And so lots of fortuitous circumstances which have enabled me to gain access to history of education, history of science education, history of formation of research in India. And that's how things are as at present. And then after I completed my term as a VC, Punjab Engineering College being the first higher education institution to come up in Chandigarh. So the director of Punjab Engineering College had a special status in Chandigarh. After it becomes a deemed university, it is the only university under the Union Territory of Chandigarh. Punjab University is not under the Union Territory Chandigarh after the year 2008 because it receives its finances directly from MHRD via UGC. So when we created CRICSI, we made Director PEC as a vice president of the CRICSI. So I had good connection with Dr. Manoj Dutta, then his successor Manoj Arora, his successor Dheeraj Sanghi. So Manoj Arora had created this notion of emeritus professors in Punjab Engineering College. And for being an emeritus professor in Punjab Engineering College, there are two routes. Either you can retire from Punjab Engineering College, or you could retire as a distinguished scientist from any other national institute of India, and you could be considered for a emeritus professor. Since I superannuated from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, which was a national center for nuclear science and mathematics, so in that background, Professor Arora made me a emeritus professor of Punjab Engineering College. His successor nominated me for Raja Ramanna Fellowship of the Atomic Energy. That is, up to the age of 70, I was a Raja Ramanna Fellow in the Department of Applied Sciences of Punjab Engineering College. And in between, Professor Pasi, who was the Vice President of the Society for Promotion of Science and Technology in India, he handed over that responsibility to me. I had known Mr. Dharamveer from the Bhabha birth centenary year. I had got organized an event at Kurukshetra University during the Bhabha birth centenary year when Mr. Dharamveer was the Chief Secretary of Haryana. We had got 2,500 school children from all across Haryana in Kurukshetra University to organize a school science symposium in which the then chairman of Atomic Energy, Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Kakotkar, Professor Ajay Sood, uh, and so many other luminaries from Panjab University, actually all across India, had come to Kurukshetra. It is in that background only the land was acquired by Atomic Energy to create this global technology hub near Manesar. And it is in that background only the land was acquired to have a first nuclear power plant in Haryana. So that is the legacy of Mr. Dharamveer as the Chief Secretary.
Yes.
And my partnership with him during the Bhabha centenary year. I knew both Dharamveer and his spouse Kia Dharamveer as physicists who had once at Kanpur. And when I was a professor at Punjab University, Kia was my colleague at Punjab University. So this old chemistry has worked well. I am working with them, and this agenda of having public outreach of science on behalf of the academic institutions and promoted the partnership between academic institution and corporate sector. This has gone intertwined by having NGOs also a part of it. So now the SPSTI has an MOU with National Academy of Sciences in India, Chandigarh chapter, and the Chandigarh chapter of NASI, Chandigarh chapter of Indian National Science Academy, and the other science academies. We work together to promote this new desire that the scientists in the academic corporate sector must work for the strategic needs of India, which are being funded through now what is called the Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which came into being in 2023. But the idea of National Research Council was articulated by the teacher scientists of India as early as 1943. So they said that there should be a National Research Council, what the National Research Council should do. All that was stated by them, documented by them. It is in that background, A.V. Hill had been invited as a Secretary of Royal Society to come to India, euphemistically to present this fellowship of the Royal Society to Bhabha, Krishnan, and Bhatnagar. But A.V. Hill endorsed the plans of teacher scientists of India, how India should be developed after the Second World War. In 43, it was not known whether India will become an independent in 3 years' time, but India becomes independent. But Nagar, as a secretary of the CSR, continues as secretary of CSR in independent India. But Nagar becomes the first secretary of education. But Nagar becomes the first chairman of UGC. Bhabha was given the responsibility in 1944 to tell about how the universities should be funded. So Bhabha's contribution to the 43 symposium, allocation of research to the universities of India. So though Bhabha created this the science Science Institute which is supposedly an institute outside the university system of India. But Bhabha always wanted to integrate the science research in the scientific institutes of India with the universities of India. And Bhabha's last speech given in the year 1966, he spells out how TIFR, future of TIFR should be shaped up so that TIFR becomes a vehicle to enrich the universities of India so that all the universities of India eventually have the same conditions for work as exist in the institutes like Indian Institutes of Science and Tata Institute.
All get equal opportunities. Sanjay.
So all those things which were articulated in 1996 in the last speech of Bhabha delivered at the International Council of Scientific Unions, it started to get realized in the 21st century as India opened newer IITs, India converted RECs into NITs, created more NITs, created Indian Institutes of Science Education and Research, had more central universities, National Knowledge Commission happened, and after National Knowledge Commission, okay, uh, once the new government came in, and then this thing that only such research will be supported vigorously, in which the corporate participates to propel the strategic needs of India. So ANRF has been created in the backdrop of reducing the gap in the strategic needs of India vis-a-vis the progress that China has made over the last 25 years. China and India were at the same position when the liberalization started in India in mid 1990s. But in last 30 years, China has moved very far ahead of India. And the present government desires to fill up the gap by promoting the participation of corporate sector with the government sector to incentivize such research in India in which this gap will be reduced. So last week only they have said corporate sector was slow in putting money for research. So they have come up with this newer idea that they will give whatever the corporate sector was supposed to contribute, the government will contribute that amount also in the form of a loan given to the Anusandhan Research Foundation. So the ANRF has full quantum of money. So ANRF should go full stream in getting all the scientists wherever they are in India, whether they are in institutes, IITs, universities, postgraduate colleges, evolve a program in which everybody contributes and the gap between strategic needs of India and uh, at least China can be reduced. So
Great.
where we stand at the moment.
The way you are telling all these things, the most important part I feel is the gratitude that you are paying to your colleagues and your seniors and everybody, their role in your journey. Sir, it's really great to listen to you. Next, that I would like to know from you, sir, the role of women in your field, the contribution by women in your field, and what is your opinion about uh, women empowerment, your concept of
See, at
women empowerment.
one time, the women in science were not many. Even today, if you look up the fellowship of the Science Academies of India, less than 20% are women in them. I mean, I am a member of some selection committee for fellows of Science Academy, one of the Science Academies even now. And it is difficult to even push one third fellows as women on a competitive basis.
Why, sir?
But because when the competition is there, women have been empowered in the universities of India only after 1980s. It is only in the last 20 years when you go to university convocations, you find two-thirds of the PhDs are women. 80% of the gold medalists in the universities of
Women.
India are women. You wait for 20 years. After 20 years, you will find that most faculties in the universities of India will be women. Most fellows in the academies of India will be women. This equation is going to turn around in 30 years' time. If you go to Panjab University today, you find that 3/4 of the senior positions by merit in the administration of the university leadership are occupied by women. You not only have a woman vice chancellor, but there is a woman DUI, there is a woman dean research. And it is not by trying to promote women. They are there by their own right, where they are in the senior-most position, and they have the most patents are held in Punjab University by a woman scientist. She is the holder of the IPR chair. So this equation is going to change. I don't know whether I will live through Modi ji's 2047, but by 2047, India,
Blessings.
Sat Bharat, equation would have changed.
Yes.
And that is not that far away. It's only 22 years away.
Good.
So this
Sir,
will be,
this
without,
will be there.
you may want to halt it. On its own, it will steamroll.
Yes.
You don't
तो
have to do
सर
anything.
हम लोग बात जब आपकी सुन रहे थे, वी वर सो एनग्रॉस्ड कि हम कुछ पार्ट हमने जो बीच में लेना था वो मिस किया। तो कुछ यादें हैं डॉक्टर अरुण ग्रोवर की फाइल से, जो हम एक वीडियो के माध्यम से देखेंगे और बातचीत को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। सर, ये 2 मिनट्स ब्रेक फ्रॉम दिस थिंग। सर, बहुत ही सुंदर यादों के साथ हमने इस वीडियो को देखा। सर, ये सब हमने आपके प्रोफेशन को देखा, आपका जो पैशन है फॉर साइंस, फॉर फिजिक्स, फॉर योर करियर, फॉर यूनिवर्सिटी लीडरशिप, वो देखा। सर, आपके जो पर्सनल फैमिली लाइफ, आपकी हॉबीज, आपका लव फॉर म्यूजिक और एनी अदर आर्ट, तो उसके बारे में भी हम जानना चाहते हैं।
See, my wife is a very eminent vocalist. In fact, more people knew her in Punjab than would have known me even after a VC, because she had won the Harballa Music Festival gold medal when she was just 18 years of age.
Wow.
She got a job as a lecturer in music after she topped the MA vocal music in the year 1980. She had a job, two jobs with her before the results came out. So I came in contact with her through Principal Mrs. Roy. She was a favorite student of the first principal of MCMDAV College for Women. And Mrs. Roy's son was my schoolmate in Meerut. So it is through her that I came to know Neera. And she only had brought me to Neera's house in January of 1983. So things have been smooth. We got married in an Arya Samaj in Sector 16. We didn't want very an elaborate marriage ceremony. So we started as a simple way, and we have built our lives and homes together without any support from either of the parents.
Okay.
So she left her job just to be with me in Chandigarh, in Bombay. Luckily for her, she was accepted as a student by Ustad Khadim Hussain Khan, who was a Padma Bhushan awardee and who was the Ustad of her music teacher in MCM DAV College, Pandit Yashpal from Agra Gharan. So Khadim Hussain was a Khalifa of Agra Gharan. I used to take her to his house on a West Bajaj scooter in Bombay, and she learned from him for 7 years. Then she got a Government of India fellowships from Ministry of Culture. She did MPhil and PhD from SNDT Women's University, and luckily she got a faculty position in SNDT Women's University. Initially, a temporary lecturership which she had left just like that in 1983. It took her quite an effort to get it back in the university in 1995. But after that, her progress was very quick. By 2007, she was a professor and had music department. When I came to Chandigarh, she took 4 years. She took leave and she taught as a visiting professor in the music department of Punjab University as well. Currently, also, she is a visiting professor at the Punjabi University Patiala Department of Music. So she is still in demand. Many students, senior students of music who want to learn something which they cannot learn it here and there, they come home and she is always willing to give them time. So I listen to and watch everything.
So you love music, you like music,
I am not
you get
familiar.
time to listen to music.
I get time to support her activities
Okay,
because
that's nice.
in some sense it's she supported me in all these ways and I was a very busy scientist. So it's a sort of a mutual support each other. Our son, she never taught music to him, but he learned on his own. So he was a part of a band in South India. He still plays on the keyboard. His children are very fond of music, so I don't know how his journey will go. But music in their family, because it's a music family from Jalandhar for the last 4 generations.
Great.
So I don't know whether genes have anything to do with it, but it's continuing.
गुड, दैट्स गुड। सर, आपकी जो जर्नी रही है, वो एक आम आदमी की जर्नी नहीं है, आम टीचर की भी जर्नी नहीं है। आपको शुरू से ही आप जैसे आपने बताया कि कैंप एरिया में आप पैदा हुए थे, उसके बाद यहाँ से आपको अपॉर्च्युनिटीज़ मिली और उन अपॉर्च्युनिटीज़ को आपने बहुत अच्छे से अवेल किया। इसीलिए अच्छे से अवेल कर अपॉर्च्युनिटीज़ मिली बिकॉज़ आप में टैलेंट था, आप आगे बढ़े और इतना रिसर्च, इतना आपका लीडरशिप का अनुभव है, तो आपसे ये जानना चाहेंगे कि हाउ वुड यू लाइक योर contributions to be remembered after decades?
See, I had very good time in a good University of India, which had been commenced in independent India.
Mhm.
Now, such universities in India, their role is shrinking. Okay. Punjab University is not able to offer today what it offered to me when I came here as a student.
Mhm.
So I tried my best to reduce the gap between Punjab University and a national institution.
Mhm.
But that gap requires continuous support from the society in the form of government being compelled to support, alumni contributing and pressurizing the government that they should support, and the corporate sector, which is the beneficiary of the products of the university, also supporting the universities from where they get all their talent. See, look at the FC Kohli, who created Tata Consultancy Services, came from Punjab University, Lahore. Salam was a product of Punjab University, Lahore. Khurana was a product of Punjab University, Lahore. Venki Ramakrishnan was an NSTS scholar like me, 1 year younger to me. He went on to win the Nobel Prize. Janendra Jain, who gave a talk at IISER Mohali 2 days ago, won the Wolf Prize this year, which is a precursor to the Nobel Prize in Physics. He was also an NSTS scholar in 1976. Today we have 10 IISERs in India. We have so many central institutions in India. So there are at least of the order of 100 institutions in India amongst the IITs, NITs, IISERs, central institutions, and good universities like Punjab University, Pune University, and Osmania University, Mysore University, Jadavpur universities. All these, or say for that matter, the Utkal University, University of Rajasthan, Patna University, Allahabad universities, all these good old universities which have good heritage, which once produced these leaders which are today governing the India. Look at all the political leaders in India. They have all graduated from these universities of India. Sushma Swaraj graduated from Punjab University. Jatli graduated from Delhi University. Rudy went from Punjab University. Okay. So all these political leaders in all political parties of India have graduated from the state universities of India. What does a state university do? State universities typically only provide postgraduate education or the professional education. Who reaches the for postgraduate education? Students who are doing well in the affiliated colleges of India. So these spaces, we want, we have a right to education, we want to give everybody school education. After that, we say we must have a GER of 50%. That means 50% of the school students must go to the colleges of India. So if the students who reach the colleges of India and the better students graduating out of the College of India will go and join the postgraduate departments of the universities of India. So very filtered set of students reach the state universities of India from the inclusive society of India. If India has to follow the footsteps of China, then everybody has to contribute to the nation building in an inclusive manner. So everyone has to be empowered across both the genders and across all communities, all religions, all social strata of society in an inclusive manner. So my dream is that we should work for this agenda of India. Corporate sector will do its part. Rich Indians could send their children to Cambridge and Oxford. Very talented Indians on scholarship could reach Oxford and Cambridge, even in the colonial India. Right? So that sector, society will get served. But that will not make the participation by everybody to the so-called GDP of India. Everybody will contribute to the so-called GDP of India if everybody is empowered. All sections of the society are empowered. And if the universities can be sustained as an inclusive space where everyone above a certain merit and a filter can be provided a place to train oneself by providing proper conditions of financial support and proper environment to grow. The proper intelligent financial support can be in the form of loan scholarship liberally made available by Government of India to be paid back to Government of India for the further future generations.
Yes.
But the loan scholarships can be paid back to Government of India or to the nationalized banks only if people have jobs from which they can set aside one third of their salary in the next 5 years of their jobs so that they can pay back for the subsidized education that they got for the 5 years.
Yes, yes.
So we have to have that kind of jobs so the good students graduating from the universities of India can be employed, gainfully employed in those jobs so that they can pay back for the loan
Yes.
scholarship that we provide them while they are there in the universities of India.
And
So
that can be used for next generations again. It can be
get this
recycled.
agenda of India going.
Mm.
If I can make the society conscious of this thing, that this agenda of India is worth working for, and only this will ensure Viksit Bharat.
Yes.
Sloganeering will not make the Viksit Bharat. It is the participation in an inclusive manner by everyone in the society, whether it's the political parties of India, the social sector of India, the corporate sector of India, and the thinkers. And today, India retires people at the age of 60. We have a larger number of able professionals who are retired people dispersed all across in India around their hometowns. The retired talent is more homogeneously distributed all across India. If somehow these retired people who are pensioners or who are on their own incomes, they can also be roped in building in the new India, then only will ensure Viksit Bharat. The UT administration is trying, I have read last week, trying to pull in the retired people, make them a part of schools in every sector. Every sector has a government school. They are trying to enroll these retired people, while the civil servants and the retired people should work with the teachers in a given school in a given sector of India. So the
Yes.
school remains a good, sustained place of excellence in which students of all society are there. So if the same thing can be done for the colleges and the state universities of India, then only we can ensure that we will have a sustained Viksat Bharat. It is
Really.
not reduce the gap, you have to sustain it also.
Yes, sir. बिल्कुल। सर, आपके पास जो ज्ञान का खजाना है ना, वो मुझे लगता है कि वो चलता ही रहेगा। इस तरह से जो आपकी बातचीत चल रही है, वो कहीं पे भी खत्म नहीं होगी। इतनी इन्फॉर्मेशन है आपके पास, इतनी नॉलेज है आपको। तो मैं शायद स्टिल हो गया है वीडियो। इज देयर एनी प्रॉब्लम? यस।
No,
सो
no,
इन द यू
it's
कैन,
all right.
यस
It's
सर।
working.
ठीक है, thank you, sir. Sir, on behalf of everyone here, I would like to extend my heartful thanks to you for sharing your time, insights, and experiences with us today. This conversation has not only deepened our understanding of higher education and sciences, and in labs, the work is going on, and its evolving frontiers, but also offered us a glimpses of the dedication and vision required to drive both scientific inquiry and academic leadership. Thank you, sir, once again for an engaging and enlightening session. We really look forward to carrying forward the ideas and inspiration by you that you shared today. It has been a beautiful talk, and especially I would like to tell you, if you haven't seen the comments, Dr. Rajinder Singh, Dr. K.R. Dharamveer, Dr. Kuldeep Pal Singh, Dr. Suman Beri, Nandini, Pooja Bajaj, M.M. Bakshi, Yogesh Kumar, Indu Handa. There are so many viewers who have been writing their comments regular throughout the show. And all are obliged to listen to you, and they are really thanking you to be here. And one thing more, जो भी हमारे दर्शक सुन रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं, विमेन टीवी इंडिया को आप सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें, हमारे प्रोग्राम्स को देखें और हमें बताएं आप क्या देखना चाहते हैं, ताकि हम इसी तरह के इंस्पायरिंग पर्सनैलिटीज को बुला सकें और आप सबके साथ रूबरू कर सकें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, सभी दर्शकों का आपका, कि आपने हमें समय दिया, हमारा कार्यक्रम देखा। और जो कुछ आज हमने सुना, जितनी इंफॉर्मेशन आपने दी, उसका अगर हम कुछ हिस्सा भी आगे पहुंचा सकें तो भी, या अपने जीवन शैली में उसको ले सकें, तो ये भी बहुत बड़ी बात होगी। और जो इंफॉर्मेशन आपने इस माध्यम से दी है, मैं ये चाहूंगी कि जो भी देख रहे हैं सबसे इस वीडियो को शेयर करें। इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन है इस 1.25 घंटे की टॉक में कि इससे बहुत ग्रोथ होगी देश की भी, और बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी कि कैसे हमें सोचना चाहिए। सबसे बड़ी बात जो मुझे लगी वो ये थी। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
थैंक यू मैम फॉर हैविंग मी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।